Get ahead of the curve, how to set up Google Tag Manager GTM with Shopify in 2022. And we're also going to cover attribution tagging, what that looks like, how to use this to be able to get accurate tracking with your ad campaigns. So let's dive in. Let's have a look at some of the different topics that we're going to cover in this video. Do you ever find that the analytics in Shopify doesn't really help you optimize your campaigns, that it's lacking, there's no customization, and you want to be able to take it to the next level? Then let's have a look now at Google Tag Manager. So there are a number of different benefits of using Google Tag Manager. It is a way that we can deploy different tracking tags to our funnels or our stores with a couple of different clicks without needing any kind of developer. Later in this video, we're going to cover how to deploy the base code for Google Tag Manager in two different places. This is required in the store, but also the checkout process as well. And what this will allow us is to be able to, with a few clicks, be able to deploy any kind of tag we want to any kind of trigger that we want. And a trigger could be a specific page view, a video view, a scroll percentage, an event like a lead or a webinar registration, or even a purchase. We're going to cover some of the basics to all of that and why it is best to use Google Tag Manager. So one, it's free. It's a free to use GUI. It's a interactive, a click and plug and play type of dashboard to be able to set up three core principles. So we need to have triggers via tags. Tags can be anything from a Facebook pixel to a TikTok pixel to Hotjar to any tracking script. So if you set up any kind of new software, you always get given this kind of tracking script or this script that you've got to add to the header section. And we can use tags to do this. We can use HTML tags. We can use Google Analytics and GA4. There are a whole range of different things. And then we have third-party tags as well, which is where other providers and companies and businesses already have these tags available. So there are a range of different things that we can do with Google Tag Manager. It's easy to use, it's user-friendly, it interacts and it integrates with a lot of other different tools out there. To get the most out of your tracking with Shopify and to be able to customize the entire process, to be able to get advanced reportings in Google Data Studio, for example, where we can import Google Analytics and we can mend and blend and look at UTM tags and attribution and a whole range of different things, we need to have these tags, triggers, and variables set up. So a trigger is if somebody's viewed a specific page, they've scrolled through a certain percentage of your site, watched a video, entered a form, they've become a lead or a purchase, or there's been some kind of event. So we need to have a look at data layers, which I cover in my advanced training courses. This is just a bit of code that we can add, and in the attribution method, I give you the exact script to be able to add on the checkout, the order confirmation page, to extract the data to be able to fire off these triggers, have variables that we can collect each of these different values, like the order ID, the order value, the currency, the items, like an array and a collection of items to be able to pass through to Google Analytics, to be able to help us get an understanding of what's going on. Now, there are two different places that we need to deploy the base code for Google Tag Manager. The first is on the store, and the second is going to be in the checkout. Now, there is a bit of a gap here because the store is separate to the checkout process. You can use third-party plugins for Shopify and Google Tag Manager to be able to bridge the gap. They do cost money, so if you do want to do this free, I do this regularly, is we just need to do it on the store. So we need to edit a couple of lines of code in the theme file, and we also need to add it to the checkout process. That is just a copy and paste. So let's go ahead and first look at how to do this inside of the theme files on the store. In your Shopify account, I'm just on a test one for the purpose of this video. We need to click on our online store under sales channels. We need to make sure that we are on themes. We should be by default. Here under current theme, your theme will be different, but you will see this actions selection button. Click that and then select edit code. You should see edit code there for your particular theme. And then once it loads, we need to click this theme liquid here under layout. See layout, password, theme liquid. We're going to add it there. And then here we've got the head tag, the opening head tag. And if we scroll down quite a way, you'll see the closing head tag down here. Now for me, it's at 220. So we can really paste it anywhere in here, as long as it's above that closing tag down the bottom. Now I've just pasted it here because we've got a whole range of SEO type tags and methods. And then we start getting into Shopify's code where we've got all these different parameters and whatnot. So to make it easier to see, I like to put it after the SEO stuff here, all that data here, all these meta tags. So just paste it in. So we copy this, and let's say that you were just seeing something like this. Add some lines of code, some break lines in, and then we're just going to paste that in, and there we go, that's done. Now we need to click save over here on the right, click save, and then we go. Now this shouldn't break your store in any way, we're just adding a code. As long as you haven't copied half of this and you see the starting Google Tag Manager and end of Google Tag Manager, and it should all be right there. Okay, so there we go. We've covered the first spot that we need to deploy the base code for Google Tag Manager on the store. Now we need to look at how to deploy it on the checkout process, and this is a lot easier. So let's go ahead and take a look at how to do that. In this video, we're going to be adding the Google Tag Manager base code to the Shopify Checkouts section. There are two places that we need to install Google Tag Manager in Shopify to work. There is the theme liquid, which we should have already covered, and then there is the checkout section. Now in Shopify, the way that their back end works, these two different areas are independent. They're kind of siloed. So we actually have to add this to that second section. And if we have a look here, this is the base code, and we just need to make sure that we get our Google Tag Manager web container ID, which you can see here in XXXXX, and we can just copy and paste that into the Shopify checkout section. So let's go ahead and do that. So I'm going to copy this code. Now you could actually just go to Google Tag Manager. So let's do that. Inside of Google Tag Manager, we can click on this admin button in the top navigation section. I'm going to select install Google Tag Manager, and I'm going to copy this first code here that says the one for the head section. So click that little copy button there. And then all we need to do is we need to go to Shopify. And down here in the bottom left-hand corner, we have settings. So smash that button and then scroll down to checkout just below payment here. We scroll to the bottom and we're going to paste in that Google Tag Manager code there. Now you will probably see it have nothing. So just paste that in. Ignore this code here. This is the code from the JavaScript for advertisers. So pay attention to that video because that is the code that's going to push the data to the data layer. Now just make sure that you scroll up and you click this save button down here. Let's just say that none of this was here. I'm just going to copy it just in case and delete it and click save. So there you go. Once there is a change, click the save button. You should see settings saved, and that's all there is to it. Just make sure that your web container ID is here, GTM dash and then some specific ID, which will match the ID here, and it will match the ID if you click on workspace, the ID up here next to workspace changes when the page actually loads. Sometimes Google Tag Manager can be quite slow. It is also here in the admin section, but
We're still waiting for this workspace to load, but you get the idea. So there's a couple of different spots that you can get it from. So there we go. That is how we add Google Tag Manager to the Shopify Checkout experience. It is separate from your theme and adding it to the theme, unless you're using a specific Shopify app or plugin to do this.
There we go. That is how we add Google Tag Manager to our Shopify stores and our checkouts in two different places. Now we are able to set up triggers to be able to listen for add to cart buttons, view items and whatnot. And we're able to fire tags based off those. In the Shopify Attribution method, I have the add to cart script and the exact steps to do this, how to set up the triggers and the tags for GA4, and to be able to get all those insights for our ad campaigns. Now, the next side of this is the checkout. We could have a script when that fires in the checkout process, which is exactly the same location that we set up Google Tag Manager in that checkout field box. We pasted in the main code. Normally you would do this in the header section, but I also in the Shopify attribution method have a script to be able to create a custom event and a data layer. And specifically what this is going to do is we create a trigger that listens for the purchase events, and it pushes through the data, the transaction ID, the array of items, the currency, the order value, and we're able to then create a tag as like GA4, and we're able to look at attribution tagging. So that leads me now into what is attribution tagging and what is this attribution method. Now, if you know about the pixel, you know that they tend to underreport or overreport, and they're just not accurate anymore. You're probably sick and tired of seeing poor ad data in Ads Manager, tired of or cannot afford to be using these expensive softwares out there that cost anywhere from $99 to $199 to $299 per month. And you're sick and tired of crunching numbers anymore. You're not a data scientist. You don't want to have multiple spreadsheets. Then the Shopify attribution method is going to be able to help you know exactly which ads are working and prevent you turning off performing ads and to prevent you leaving on dud ads. It's going to help give you conversion breakdown insights, insights into the different placements and the different devices that are optimized and performing. And then you scale again. But how do we scale? To scale, all we really need to know when it comes to ad tracking is the ad ID. From here, we know which ad to start feeding more budget to ensure that that ad stays on. And that's going to effectively keep feeding the Facebook pixel and Facebook's own algorithms. So there are three core pillars. Core pillar is, you guessed it, the pixel. We're not going to dive deep into the pixel at all. That is in the Attribution Academy. But we need to have a look at pillar 2 and 3. So pillar 2 is to be able to tap into Shopify's attribution reports that don't quite work unless we look at some kind of data persistence. Now we can do this with Google Tag Manager with a couple of different tags and variables, and I give you the templates and the guides how to do this. It doesn't take long. If you're doing this for clients, you're able to import different elements or all elements of Google Tag Manager, import those templates. And then what we're able to do is we're able to use these actual automated workflows inside of Data Studio that pull through this Shopify data, these orders, the transactions, along with its query string data, UTM sets, whatever it is that you want to track. We have that ability there. And even better, we're doing this all automated in a Google Sheet, which is data you own. You're not having to fetch data from somewhere else. You're not having to rely on Shopify to give you that data. You have that data. Now that is called Pillar 2, and we need this because this helps us compare data that we have in Pillar 3, which is attribution tagging, which is where we use GA4 event tags in Google Tag Manager, and we pair ad data to it. We look at custom dimensions. We look at with the attribution tagging process, being able to persist data as well. And with this, we're able to automatically pull through this data in Data Studio. And the best part of the attribution method is the ability to import with one click the template. 12 plus dashboards. There are about 4 of these for Facebook ads to be able to help you with conversion breakdowns, look at different placements, look at different devices that are converting, be able to tell you which ads are converting, your row house, your CPAs, CPLs, whatever it may be. This is going to help you get ahead of the curve, take ownership, customize the attribution process, the ad tracking process with very minimal effort once it's set up the first time. There are a few different videos to explain the fundamentals to things, but the actions are relatively quick. If you think about it, the goal is relatively easy. And there's a checklist to help guide you through this. There are the dashboards, there are the import templates for Google Tag Manager, all the tags and the triggers and the variables. And what makes this even better is it helps you to be able to verify and validate every transaction and its ad data so that you can go and optimize and scale again. So if I just finish off this video, what would this do for your business? Are you the next attribution magician? Now, if you like this video, click the like button. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe and click that bell button so you get instant notifications of more videos like this. If you use Google Tag Manager, let me know in the comments below, or let me know what you want to hear about with Google Tag Manager. Is it specific triggers or methods or variables, the data layer, how you have been using Google Tag Manager with your store, and how quick and easy this was to set up on your own store using these 2 different areas that we need to set it up. We need to set up on the store, and we need to set up in the checkout process. So let me know what this is going to do for your business. Thank you again for watching. My name is Joel from AdGrid.